interview. It's even worse when the question you're walking away from is, where's the evidence? But President Trump did just that. After making false claims that California's slow vote count was proof of fraud.
It's
The
4
Republicans are
days.
doing well in
In
California.
California, it's, no, they're not, they're dropping fast because it's a rigged election. Let me tell you, it's 4 days, and they aren't even close
That's
to
how they.
coming up
That's
with
how they
it.
count
You know
the
why
votes
they're
in
doing that? Because
California.
they're cheating on the election.
Do you have evidence
It,
to
all
support
I have to
that?
do is look. There's more evidence than ever presented.
Let's talk
Your
about.
elections
You
in
like
this
to
country,
pour-
we're like a third world country.
That's a-
Your elections are crooked, and you're crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked,
Mr.
and so is ABC, and CBS, and CNN.
But Mr.
You
President,
one-sided crooked networks. Right, let's call it quits because I've had enough. Thank you, darling. Have a good time.
Did he answer the question? I must have missed it. Well, California's count, it is going slow. But it's not fraud. It's how the system works there. The state keeps processing mail-in ballots after election night. That's the policy. It's as long as those votes were postmarked on election day. When they come in, different story. And that pace, I mean, it absolutely is having a real impact, especially in Los Angeles, because we can now predict that Councilwoman Nithya Raman will advance the mayoral runoff with incumbent Mayor Karen Bass. That means Spencer Pratt is out after falling from the second spot to the third. But the president has made it very clear that he is not happy about that, and he's claiming the same thing is going to happen to the Republican candidate for governor, Steve Hilton. He's also not happy about something else. The status of the DOJ Anti-Weaponization Fund, the one he's outright saying would give payouts to January 6th rioters if he got his way.
If it was up to me, I'd pay them the kind of money that they deserve. So, me personally, I think the weaponization fund is a great idea, and so do many other Republicans. You have to get it approved. If they get it approved, that's great. If they don't get it approved, I'd be disappointed.
Disappointed. You might want to tell that to his acting attorney general, the one he just officially nominated to be the permanent AG, because Todd Blanche has said that that fund is dead. And by the way, so is his own DOJ in actual court filings. It's in writing. But that was the theme of Trump's NBC interview. Ask what is true and get what Trump wants to be true. Take the cost of living. He was pressed on how farmers are struggling, and they are, to make ends meet. He says they love him, and they'll understand why prices are going up.
The farmers were doing great. Fertilizer was very cheap. Everything was cheap. Gasoline was very low. Everything was very low. I could have kept it that way, but I said I have to take a little bit of return. The farmer's going to understand it better than anybody. We're going to have higher gasoline. We're going to have a little higher fertilizer, etc., etc. But I'm going to get rid of a nuclear weapon in the hands of very dangerous people.
Farmers understand, but do they agree with the impact that it's having on themselves and the communities that they serve? I mean, it might be wishful thinking when poll after poll shows voters souring on the economy, and when GOP voters in Iowa rejected the Trump-endorsed candidate for governor. It's also asking a lot for Americans to swallow the price of the war with Iran just to say, you understand, right? Didn't the president promise there were no new wars?
what changed? Because you insisted no new wars.
First of all, I didn't guarantee no war. No new wars. Under Trump, we will have no more wars. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars. Make sure that Trump gets reelected president, and you're not going to have any more wars.
That's called receipts. Good for you, Kristen. Let's get right to CNN anchor Alex Michelson in Los Angeles. Alex, look, Spencer Pratt's out. Mayor Karen Bass is officially going up against the Progressive Council member Nithya Raman. So, what are you hearing from the candidates tonight?
So far, Spencer Pratt hasn't said anything. He put out a statement earlier in the night before the race was called, basically telling everybody to be patient. We have time to keep counting the votes. We have not heard from him. We have heard from Nithya Raman and from Karen Bass. Let's first put up on the screen what we've heard from Nithya Raman, who says that for far too long, City Hall has prioritized giving political advantage to powerful interests that fund elections. Meanwhile, working people pay the price in higher rents. She goes on to say, debt-depleted services in a city that has stopped working for them. If you're as frustrated by the broken status quo as I am, I hope you'll join our movement to build a city that works for everyone. Karen Bass just put out a tweet of her own explaining where she goes from here, and she says, quote, "We won on Tuesday and LA rejected Spencer Pratt and the MAGA agenda. Next we'll win in November because it's an election with a choice between whether we keep making change together or Nithya Raman, who allows encampments near schools and fights against hiring more cops, yet is MIA on saving Hollywood jobs and fighting back when ICE invades LA." I'm sure Raman would push back on some of that, but you already start to see the outlines of this race between Bass and Raman. A very different race than it would be between Bass and Pratt, which would have been a lot about Donald Trump. Karen Bass can't really make that argument against Nithya Raman, but it is important to talk about this extraordinary Pratt campaign, Laura, which got so much attention online, was featured so much, especially by our friends over on Fox News Channel, talking about it every single hour, day after day after day. And the big question was, would that translate into votes on the ground in LA, especially in some of LA's poorer, more diverse neighborhoods? And from what we can see so far, it does not appear that he was able to do that.
I'm curious whether he will accept the results as well, and also whether those two remaining candidates are now going to take some lessons from the force he was at this point in time. Let's talk about the governor's race, though, Alex, because there's not been a projection yet on who will advance along with Democrat Javier Becerra. And of course, the slow count that everyone is talking about, it's breathing new life into President Trump's vote fraud claims. How are candidates like Steve Hilton navigating this?
Well, it's interesting. Steve Hilton and Tom Steyer are sort of the two remaining candidates. Tom Steyer has essentially kind of gone MIA. He hasn't done a lot of public appearances or interviews, put out a few statements. Steve Hilton's everywhere. He's acting like he's already moved on. He's doing press conferences, he's doing media appearances, he's doing interviews, including with our own Aaron Burnett earlier today, where he talked about this idea of fraud and said he hasn't seen any.
We've got teams standing by, lawyers standing by, and actually it's the same answer that actually I've been giving for a few days now. We've seen nothing that would give us cause to intervene in that way.
So that's the comment from Steve Hilton. But right now, the numbers are looking pretty good for him. So, it's oftentimes, you don't often hear the Republicans claiming fraud when they win. It's often just when they lose. Right now, it looks like Steve Hilton is on his way to a second place finish, which would be a spot in the general election.
Well, we will see. Alex, see you at the top of the hour, okay?
All right.